Olivia Mason looked at her watch and felt her heart beat faster. She only had 15 minutes to reach her gate. She gripped her carry-on bag tighter and walked faster through the busy airport. As an event planner, Olivia had been on many flights before, but today was different. Today she had to be in Seattle for an important meeting with a client who could change her small business forever. Gate C45, she whispered to herself, scanning the signs above. People moved all around her like water in a stream, some walking, slowly with coffee cups in hand, others running just like her. Olivia was 28 years old with brown hair that fell just past her shoulders. She wore a blue blazer over a white blouse, clothes she had picked carefully for both the flight and the meeting later. Her sensible black shoes clicked against the airport floor as she walked even faster. "Excuse me," she said as she moved past, a family with 2 small children. The airport was especially crowded today. A voice came over the speakers announcing another flight, but not hers. Not yet. 10 minutes now. Olivia saw the sign for her gate section and felt a small wave of relief. She would make it. She always made it somehow. Her friends often joked that Olivia could find her way through anything. She was the one they called when they were lost or needed help planning something important. As she turned the corner toward her gate, Olivia noticed a small group of people gathered in a circle. Most people walked past, too busy with their own travels to stop. But something made Olivia slow down. In the middle of the circle, a man sat slumped in a chair while an elderly woman with gray hair stood beside him, looking scared. "Is someone helping?" Olivia asked a man standing at the edge of the small crowd. "Someone called for help, I think," he said, then checked his watch and walked away. Olivia glanced at her own watch. 8 minutes until her flight boarded. Yager should keep walking. This was not her problem. But the elderly woman looked up just then and their eyes met. "Please," the woman said. "My neighbor needs help." Olivia hesitated only for a second before stepping forward. The man in the chair was sweating and seemed confused. He was a tall, well-built black man, maybe in his mid-30s, wearing a simple gray sweater and black pants. His eyes couldn't seem to focus. "What happened?" Olivia asked, setting down her bag. "We were walking to his flight when Marcus just started feeling bad," the elderly woman explained. Her hands shook as she touched the man's shoulder. "He said he felt dizzy and then he could barely walk. I helped him to this chair." Olivia kneeled in front of the man. "Marcus, can you hear me?" He nodded slightly but didn't speak. "Did he eat today?" Olivia asked the woman. "I don't think so. He was in a rush this morning." Last year, Olivia had taken a first aid course for her event planning business. The instructor had spent a lot of time on recognizing medical emergencies, including diabetic episodes. Marcus showed many of those signs. "Marcus, are you diabetic?" Olivia asked clearly. His eyes focused on her for a moment and he nodded. "Do you have glucose tablets or something sweet with you?" The elderly woman quickly opened her purse. "He always keeps something in here when we travel. He lets me carry it because I worry so much." She pulled out a small case and handed it to Olivia. Inside was an emergency glucose gel. Olivia read the instructions quickly and helped Marcus take it. A man in an airport uniform finally approached them. "Medical help is coming," he said. "Is he all right?" "I think he's having a diabetic episode," Olivia explained. "We've given him glucose gel. He should start feeling better soon, but he still needs to be checked." While they waited for the medical team, Olivia stayed with Marcus, checking his responses and making sure he remained conscious. The elderly woman held his hand, her worried face starting to relax as Marcus became more alert. "Thank you," Marcus said after a few minutes, his voice clearer now. "I don't know what happened. I felt fine this morning." "Did you miss any meals today?" Olivia asked. "I had back-to-back meetings. I guess I forgot to eat," he admitted. The airport announcement system came to life again. Final boarding call for Flight 372 to Seattle at Gate C45. Olivia's heart sank. That was her flight. She looked toward the direction of her gate, then back at Marcus. The medical team was just arriving. She couldn't leave now. "You need to go," Marcus said, noticing her reaction to the announcement. "You have a flight." "It's okay," Olivia said, though it wasn't really okay. Missing this flight would cause problems with her schedule and the important meeting. I want to make sure you're all right. The medical team took over, checking Marcus's vital signs and asking him questions. The elderly woman stepped back but stayed close, watching everything they did. He'll be fine now, one of the medical workers told Olivia after a few minutes. You did the right thing with the glucose. Are you family? No, Olivia said. I was just passing by. Well, you might have saved him from a much worse situation. Low blood sugar can become dangerous quickly. Olivia smiled, then checked her watch. Again, her flight had definitely left without her. She would have to find another flight and call her client to reschedule the meeting. It would be difficult, but not impossible. The elderly woman touched Olivia's arm. Thank you for stopping. Most people just walked by. I'm Betty, by the way. I've been Marcus's neighbor since he was a little boy. I still look after him when I can, even though he says he doesn't need it. I'm Olivia, and it looks like he did need some looking after today, Olivia said with a kind smile. Marcus was sitting up straighter now, color returning to his face. The medical team was still checking him, but he looked much better. I missed my flight, Olivia told Betty. I need to find the customer service desk to book another one. Oh dear, Betty said. I feel terrible about that. Please don't, I'm glad I could help. As Olivia picked up her bag to leave, Marcus looked up at her. His eyes were clear now, and Olivia noticed for the first time how warm and deep brown they were. Thank you, he said simply. I'm sorry about your flight. It's fine, Olivia replied. Take care of yourself. Try to eat regular meals even with a busy schedule. Marcus smiled, and something about that smile made Olivia feel a little better about missing her flight. I'll remember that advice. Olivia walked away, already thinking about what she needed to do next. Call the airline, call her client, find a hotel for the night since there probably wouldn't be another flight until morning. It was going to be a long day. She didn't notice Marcus watching her leave, or hear him ask Betty about the woman who had stopped to help when no one else would. She didn't see him take out his phone and make a note about a missed flight to Seattle. And she certainly didn't know that their paths would cross again very soon, in a way she could never have expected. For now, Olivia just focused on finding the customer service desk, unaware that missing her flight was about to change her life, in ways she couldn't imagine. Olivia sat in the airport lounge the next morning, typing quickly on her laptop. She had spent the night at an airport hotel after learning there were no more flights to Seattle until morning. Luckily, her client had been understanding about rescheduling their meeting for the following afternoon. Now she had a few hours to prepare before her new flight. The lounge was quiet compared to the busy main terminal. Soft music played in the background as business travelers worked on laptops or talked quietly on phones. Olivia sipped her coffee and reviewed her presentation one more time. Despite the delay, she felt ready for the meeting. Excuse me, aren't you the woman who helped me yesterday? Olivia looked up, surprised to hear a familiar voice. Standing beside her table was the man from yesterday, Marcus. He looked completely different now. Gone was the pale, confused person slumped in a chair. Today he wore a perfectly fitted dark blue suit with a light blue tie. His face was bright and healthy and his posture straight and confident. Yes, that's me, Olivia said, closing her laptop. Marcus, right? You look much better today. I feel much better thanks to you, he said with a warm smile. Do you mind if I join you for a minute? Olivia gestured to the empty chair across from her. Please do. Marcus sat down, placing a small briefcase beside him. I wanted to thank you properly for your help yesterday. The medical team told me things could have gotten serious if my blood sugar had dropped any lower. I'm glad I was there, Olivia said. How are you feeling now? Back to normal. I made sure to eat breakfast this morning, he said with a slight smile. Betty would have forced food down my throat anyway. She was very worried. Betty seems like a wonderful person, Olivia said. She clearly cares about you a lot. Marcus nodded. She was my neighbor growing up. After my mother died when I was young, Betty helped my father raise me. She still insists on taking me to the airport whenever I return from business trips, even though I'm perfectly capable of getting a taxi. That's sweet, Olivia said, touched by the story. Some traditions are worth keeping. A comfortable silence fell between them. Olivia noticed that Marcus had kind eyes. When he smiled, small lines appeared at their corners. So, Marcus said after a moment, I heard you missed your flight to Seattle because of me. Olivia shrugged. It worked out okay. I rescheduled my meeting for this afternoon. I'm on the 11:30 flight. What takes you to Seattle? He asked. I'm an event planner, Olivia explained. I have my own small company. This client could be a big opportunity for me. They want someone to organize their annual company retreat, and if they like my work, it could lead to more corporate events. That sounds interesting, Marcus said. Do you enjoy it? I love it. Every event is different, and I get to be creative while also using my organizational skills. Olivia found herself smiling as she talked about her work. What about you? What do you do? Marcus seemed to hesitate before answering. I work in transportation. Like logistics? Shipping? Olivia asked. Something like that, he said vaguely. I should let you get back to your work. Would you let me buy you a coffee first as a small thank you? You don't need to thank me, Olivia said. But I wouldn't say no to more coffee. They walked together to the coffee counter. Olivia noticed that several lounge staff members nodded respectfully to Marcus as they passed. He must be a frequent traveler, she thought. While they waited for their drinks, Marcus asked Olivia more questions about her business and her life. He seemed genuinely interested in her answers, listening carefully and asking thoughtful follow-up questions. Olivia found herself talking more than she usually would with a stranger. I started the company 3 years ago, she explained. Before that, I worked for a large event planning firm, but I wanted more control over the kinds of events I took on. It was scary at first working for myself, but now I can't imagine doing anything else. That takes courage, Marcus said, sounding impressed. Not everyone is willing to take that kind of risk. What about you? Olivia asked. Have you always worked in transportation? Again, Marcus seemed to choose his words carefully. I've been in the industry for about 12 years now. It's changed a lot in that time. Their coffee arrived and they carried the cups back to Olivia's table. As they sat down, an announcement came over the speaker system. That's the boarding call for my flight, Marcus said, standing up. I should go. Thanks for the coffee, Olivia said. Marcus reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a business card. Would you mind giving me your card? I'd like to properly thank you for your help. You already thanked me with coffee, Olivia said with a smile. But she reached into her bag and handed him one of her business cards anyway. The simple white card had her name, company name, phone number, and email address. Marcus looked at it for a moment, then tucked it carefully into his wallet. It was nice meeting you, Olivia Mason, even under unusual circumstances. It was nice meeting you too, Marcus. He smiled once more, picked up his briefcase, and walked away. Olivia watched him go, noticing how other travelers seemed to move out of his path. There was something about him that commanded respect, though he hadn't done anything to demand it. Olivia returned to her laptop, pushing thoughts of Marcus aside. She had a flight to catch and a meeting to prepare for. She didn't expect to see him again. 3 days later, Olivia stood in line at the check-in counter for her return flight home. Her meeting in Seattle had gone better than expected. The client had loved her ideas and signed a contract for not only the retreat, but 2 additional events later in the year. She felt proud and relieved as she handed her ID to the airline employee. The woman at the counter typed something into her computer, then looked up with a smile. Ms. Mason, I see you've been upgraded to first class today. There must be a mistake, Olivia said. I booked economy. The woman checked her screen again. No, it's correct. You've been upgraded. Would you like a window or aisle seat? Confused but pleased, Olivia chose a window seat. As she walked away from the counter, she wondered if the upgrade was a computer error or if the airline was just having a good day. Either way, she wasn't going to complain about flying home in comfort. Later, as she settled into her spacious first-class seat, a flight attendant approached her with a warm smile. Ms. Mason, Welcome aboard. The captain wanted me to give you this. She handed Olivia a small envelope. Even more confused now, Olivia opened it and pulled out a note card. Thank you again for your kindness. I hope this makes your journey more comfortable. Marcus Taylor, CEO, Horizon Airways. Olivia stared at the card in shock. Marcus owned the airline, the man she had helped, the man who had bought her coffee, and vaguely said he worked in transportation was actually the CEO of Horizon Airways. She looked out the window at the planes on the tarmac, all bearing the distinctive blue and silver Horizon Airways logo, and felt a strange flutter in her stomach. Suddenly, her journey home seemed much more interesting than she had expected. Olivia could hardly believe what she had just learned. The man she had helped during a medical emergency, the same man who had bought her coffee and chatted with her like a regular person, was the CEO of Horizon Airways. She looked around the first-class cabin with new eyes, noticing details she had missed before. The blue seats matched the exact shade of Marcus's tie from their coffee meeting. The silver trim echoed the company's logo. The flight attendant noticed Olivia looking at the note card. Mr. Taylor is well liked by all the staff, she said with a genuine smile. He's a good boss. You know him personally? Olivia asked. He makes a point to know everyone who works for the airline, the attendant explained. He started as a pilot, worked his way up. Before Olivia could ask more questions, the attendant moved on to help other passengers. Olivia sat back in her comfortable seat, thinking about Marcus. He had seemed so normal, so humble. He could have told her who he was, but he hadn't. Why? The flight home was the most pleasant one Olivia had ever experienced. The first-class service included a delicious meal, free drinks, and plenty of space to relax. She tried to work on her laptop, but her mind kept drifting back to Marcus Taylor, CEO of Horizon Airways. By the time Olivia arrived at her apartment, she had convinced herself that the upgrade was just a simple thank you gesture. Marcus had probably moved on with his busy life and forgotten about her already. She would have a good story to tell her roommate Kelly, and that would be the end of it. Kelly was sitting on the couch watching TV when Olivia walked in. How was Seattle? She asked, turning down the volume. The client loved my ideas, Olivia said, dropping her bags by the door. They signed for 3 events, not just the retreat. That's amazing. Kelly stood up to give her a hug. I knew you'd wow them. That's not even the most interesting part, Olivia said. She told Kelly about helping Marcus at the airport, their coffee the next day, and the surprise upgrade on her flight home. Kelly's eyes grew wider with each detail. He owns the whole airline? And he was just casually buying you coffee without telling you? He said he worked in transportation, Olivia said with a laugh. I guess that wasn't a lie. So, was he cute? Kelly asked with a mischievous smile. Olivia thought about Marcus's warm brown eyes and kind smile. He was handsome, she admitted, but it doesn't matter. I'll probably never see him again. Just as she finished speaking, the doorbell rang. Kelly raised an eyebrow at Olivia before going to answer it. A delivery person stood in the hallway holding an enormous gift basket wrapped in blue cellophane with a silver bow. Delivery for Olivia Mason, he said. Kelly took the basket, thanked the delivery person, and closed the door. Never see him again, huh? She teased, handing the heavy basket to Olivia. The basket was filled with gourmet treats, a bottle of wine, and several small items that caught Olivia's attention. There was a miniature model of a plane with the Horizon Airways logo, a soft travel pillow, and a book about Seattle. A small card was tucked among the items. Read it, Kelly urged, peering over Olivia's shoulder. Olivia opened the card. Thank you again for your help. I would like to take you to dinner the next time you're in Chicago, or the next time I'm in your city. Please call me if you're interested. Marcus. Below his signature was a phone number. He gave you his personal number, Kelly said, her voice rising with excitement. The CEO of an airline wants to take you to dinner. It's probably just gratitude, Olivia said, though she felt a flutter of something more than just surprise. Call him, Kelly insisted. Now? I just got home. Not now but soon, before he thinks you're not interested. Olivia placed the card on the kitchen counter. "I'll think about it." But over the next few days, Olivia found herself thinking about Marcus often. She looked up Horizon Airways online and learned that the company had grown rapidly over the past 5 years since Marcus Taylor had become CEO. The airline was known for excellent service and had won several industry awards. There were a few photos of Marcus at business events, always looking confident but approachable in his well-tailored suits. 1 week after her return, Olivia finally gathered the courage to call the number. She dialed quickly before she could change her mind. "Marcus Taylor," a deep voice answered after just 2 rings. "Hi, this is Olivia Mason," she said, suddenly feeling nervous. "You left me your number." "Olivia," Marcus said warmly. "I'm glad you called. Did you receive the gift basket?" "Yes, thank you. It was very generous." "I wanted to thank you properly for your help that day," Marcus said. "Some people wouldn't have stopped to help a stranger." "Anyone would have done the same," Olivia said. "I don't think that's true," Marcus replied. There was a pause before he continued. "I have to be in your city next week for a meeting. Would you be free for dinner on Friday evening?" Olivia looked at her calendar. She had a small event that afternoon, but it would be finished by 6. "Friday works for me," she said. "Wonderful. I'll make a reservation and text you the details," Marcus said. "I'm looking forward to it." After they said goodbye, Olivia put down her phone and took a deep breath. She had just agreed to have dinner with the CEO of an airline. It felt surreal. The next week passed quickly as Olivia focused on work. She had 2 small events to manage, plus ongoing planning for the Seattle clients' retreat. By the time Friday arrived, she had almost convinced herself that dinner with Marcus was just a friendly thank you gesture. The restaurant Marcus had chosen was one of the best in the city, known for its excellent food and private atmosphere. Olivia arrived a few minutes early, wearing a simple black dress that Kelly had insisted was perfect for the occasion. The host showed her to a quiet table in the corner where Marcus was already waiting. He stood as she approached, his smile as warm and genuine as she remembered. "Olivia," he said, "you look lovely." "Thank you," she replied, suddenly feeling shy. "This is a beautiful restaurant." As they sat down, Olivia noticed that Marcus seemed different tonight. At the airport, he had been either ill or deliberately understated. Tonight, his natural confidence was more apparent, though still not overwhelming. He wore a charcoal gray suit with no tie, looking both professional and relaxed. "I should apologize," Marcus said after they had ordered drinks. "I wasn't completely honest with you at the airport." "You mean when you said you worked in transportation?" Olivia asked. With a small smile, Marcus laughed. "That was technically true. I just left out a few details." "Why didn't you tell me who you were?" Marcus looked thoughtful for a moment. "When people know I own the airline, they treat me differently. It was nice to just be a person you helped, not a CEO you might want something from." Olivia nodded, understanding. "That makes sense. Though I have to say finding out via a note card on the plane was quite a surprise." "I hope a good surprise," Marcus said, watching her reaction carefully. "Definitely. A good surprise," Olivia confirmed. "Though I still think the first-class upgrade was too much." "You didn't need to do that. Consider it a business expense," Marcus said with a smile. "After all, I was just making sure a valued customer had a comfortable flight." Their conversation flowed easily as the evening progressed. They discovered shared interests in travel, old movies, and trying new foods. Marcus told stories about learning to fly planes before he ever learned to run a business. Olivia shared her journey from working for others to starting her own company. By the time dessert arrived, Olivia had forgotten to be nervous. She was simply enjoying Marcus's company, laughing at his stories and sharing her own. There was a connection between them that felt natural and right. After their dinner, Marcus walked Olivia to her car. The night air was cool but pleasant. Stars peeked through the city lights above them. Neither seemed in a hurry to end the evening. "I had a wonderful time," Marcus said when they reached Olivia's car. "So did I," Olivia replied honestly. The evening had been better than she expected. Marcus was easy to talk to, funny, and interested in what she had to say. She hadn't once felt like she was just having dinner with a rich CEO. He had made her feel special. "I have to fly back to Chicago tomorrow," Marcus said, "but I'd like to see you again. Would that be okay?" Olivia smiled. "I'd like that too." Marcus reached for her hand and gave it a gentle squeeze. "I'll call you soon." Driving home, Olivia tried to make sense of what was happening. Was this the beginning of something real, or just an unusual friendship? Marcus lived in Chicago. She lived here. His life as a CEO seemed worlds away from her small event planning business. And yet she couldn't deny the connection she felt with him. Over the next few weeks, Marcus found ways to stay in touch despite their busy schedules and the distance between their cities. He called her every few days. Sometimes they talked for hours about everything and nothing. He sent her text messages that made her smile. Once he even sent her flowers after she mentioned having a difficult day with a demanding client. 1 month after their dinner, Marcus called with news. "I need to visit your city again for business," he said. "I'll be there for 3 days. Could I see you?" "Of course," Olivia said, trying not to sound too eager. "When will you be here?" "Wednesday through Friday next week. I have meetings during the days, but my evenings are free." They made plans for dinner on Wednesday night. This time, Olivia suggested a small local restaurant that she loved. It wasn't fancy like the place Marcus had chosen for their first dinner, but the food was delicious and the atmosphere warm and friendly. When Wednesday arrived, Olivia felt both excited and nervous as she got ready. Kelly helped her choose an outfit, a soft green dress that brought out the color of her eyes. "You really like him, don't you?" Kelly asked as Olivia put on her earrings. "I do," Olivia admitted. "But I'm trying not to get too excited. He lives in Chicago, his life is there, mine is here." "Long distance can work," Kelly said, "and people change their lives for the right person all the time." Olivia didn't answer. She wasn't ready to think about either of them changing their lives. They were still getting to know each other. Marcus was waiting outside the restaurant when Olivia arrived. His face lit up when he saw her. He greeted her with a hug that felt natural, as if they had known each other for years rather than weeks. Inside, the restaurant owner recognized Olivia and gave them a nice table by the window. Marcus looked around with interest. "This place has character," he said approvingly. "How did you find it?" "I planned a small birthday party here last year," Olivia explained. "The owner, Frank, was so helpful that I kept coming back. Now it's one of my favorite places." As if on cue, Frank himself came to their table with a bottle of wine. "On the house," he said with a warm smile. "For Olivia and her special guest." After Frank left, Marcus raised an eyebrow. "You must bring all your dates here," he teased. Olivia laughed. "Actually, you're the first person I brought here who wasn't a client or a friend." Something in Marcus's eyes changed at her words. He reached across the table and took her hand. "I'm honored," he said softly. The evening passed quickly as they enjoyed the food and each other's company. Marcus told her about his recent business trip to Europe. Olivia shared stories about the event she was planning for her Seattle client. "Speaking of events," Marcus said as they were finishing dessert, "Horizon Airways is hosting a charity gala in Chicago next month. Would you consider being my guest?" Olivia felt a flutter of excitement. "I'd love to." "Great," Marcus smiled. "I'll send you all the details. The company will cover your flight, of course." "You don't have to do that," Olivia protested. "Consider it a business expense," Marcus said with a wink. "After all, I'm inviting an event planning expert to critique our gala." Olivia laughed. "In that case, I accept." After dinner, they decided to take a walk through the nearby park. The night was warm, and many people were out enjoying the evening. Marcus took Olivia's hand as they walked, and she didn't pull away. "Tell me about your family," Marcus said. "You haven't mentioned them much." "My parents live about 2 hours from here," Olivia explained. "My dad is a high school teacher, and my mom works at the local library. I have one older brother who lives in California with his wife and 2 kids. Do you see them often?" I try to visit at least once a month, Olivia said. Family is important to me. What about your family? You mentioned your mother passed away when you were young. Marcus nodded. It was just my father and me after that, with Betty helping out. My father worked hard to give me opportunities. He saved enough to help me through flight school. He passed away 6 years ago just as Horizon Airways was starting to grow. I'm sorry, Olivia said, squeezing his hand. He would be proud of what you've built. I hope so, Marcus said quietly. Sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough with what I have. My father always taught me that success means nothing if you don't use it to help others. Is that why Horizon Airways has so many community programs? Olivia asked. She had done some research on the company and discovered they were known for their charitable work. Marcus looked surprised. You've been reading about my company? Olivia blushed slightly. I was curious. Yes, that's exactly why, Marcus confirmed. We try to give back to the communities we serve. It's not just good business, it's the right thing to do. They continued, walking in comfortable silence for a while. Olivia felt a growing connection to this man who could have been distant and corporate, but instead was thoughtful and kind. When they returned to Olivia's car, Marcus asked if he could see her again, the next evening. I'd like that, Olivia said. The next 2 days followed a similar pattern. Marcus had meetings during the day, but they spent the evenings together. On Thursday, they went to a small jazz club where the music was good and they could talk quietly, between sets. On Friday, his last night in town, they had dinner at Olivia's apartment. She cooked for him, and they sat talking late into the night. When it was time for Marcus to leave, neither wanted the evening to end. They stood at her door, reluctant to say goodbye. These have been the best 3 days I've had in a long time, Marcus said, his voice soft. For me too, Olivia admitted. Marcus touched her cheek gently, then leaned in and kissed her. It was a soft kiss, sweet and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Olivia felt breathless. I'll call you tomorrow, Marcus promised. And I'll see you in Chicago for the gala in 3 weeks. After he left, Olivia leaned against her closed door, her heart racing. She was falling for Marcus Taylor, CEO of Horizon Airways, the man she had helped in an airport when he was just a stranger in need. Life could take such unexpected turns. The next morning, Olivia woke to a text message from Marcus. Made it back. To Chicago. Missing you already. She smiled and typed back. Missing you too. Call me later. Over the next 3 weeks, their relationship continued to grow despite the distance. They talked daily, sometimes by phone, sometimes by video call. Marcus sent her information about the charity gala, along with her flight details. He had booked her a first-class ticket on Horizon Airways, of course. As the date of the gala approached, Olivia felt both excited and nervous. This would be her first time seeing Marcus in his world, the corporate world of a successful CEO. Would she fit in? Would his colleagues accept her? Would she still feel the same connection with him in that environment? Only time would tell, but Olivia was ready to find out. Olivia stepped off the plane in Chicago feeling both excited and nervous. The flight had been comfortable, of course. Marcus had made sure of that. A car was waiting for her at the airport, sent by Marcus to take her to her hotel. She had insisted on staying at a hotel, rather than with Marcus. Their relationship was still new and she wanted to take things slowly. The hotel was beautiful. Much nicer than places Olivia usually stayed when traveling for work. Her room had a view of the city skyline and Lake Michigan beyond. On the bed was a gift box with a note from Marcus. Can't wait to see you tonight. The car will pick you up at 7. Inside the box was a delicate silver bracelet with a small airplane charm. Olivia smiled as she put it on. It was a perfect gift, thoughtful but not too expensive or showy. At exactly 7 o'clock, the car arrived to take Olivia to the charity gala. She wore a long blue dress that she had carefully chosen for the occasion. It was elegant without being flashy, the kind of dress that would fit in at an upscale event without looking like she was trying too hard. The gala was being held at one of Chicago's most prestigious hotels. As the car pulled up to the entrance, Olivia saw Marcus waiting for her on the steps. He looked handsome in his tuxedo, But what made Olivia's heart beat faster was the way his face lit up when he saw her. "You look beautiful," he said, helping her from the car. "Thank you," Olivia replied. "You clean up pretty well yourself." Marcus laughed and offered her his arm. "Ready to meet a lot of people who will be very interested in you?" Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Why would they be interested in me?" "Because I've never brought a date to a company event before," Marcus explained with a smile. "You're about to cause quite a stir." He was right. As they entered the ballroom, Olivia noticed many curious glances. Marcus introduced her to countless people, board members, executives, longtime employees. Everyone was polite, but Olivia could sense their curiosity. One older woman, introduced as the head of customer service, whispered to Olivia, "It's so nice to see Marcus with someone. He works too hard." A middle-aged man who had apparently been with the company since the beginning told her, "Whatever you're doing, keep it up. The boss has been smiling more lately." Throughout the evening, Olivia watched Marcus in his element. He moved through the crowd with ease, knowing everyone's names, asking about their families, making each person feel important. He was clearly respected and well-liked by his employees. During dinner, they sat at a table with several of Marcus's top executives and their partners. The conversation was pleasant, and no one made Olivia feel out of place. In fact, when they learned she was an event planner, several people asked for her professional opinion on the gala. "Everything is lovely," Olivia said sincerely. "Whoever planned this did an excellent job." "That would be Diane," Marcus said, nodding toward a woman at another table. "She's been planning our events for years." Later, as they danced, Marcus held Olivia close. "Are you having a good time?" he asked. "I am," Olivia said. "Your colleagues are very nice." "They like you," Marcus said. "I can tell." "How can you tell?" "Because they're being themselves, not putting on a show. That's how I know they approve." Olivia rested her head on his shoulder as they moved to the music. "I'm glad they approve, but it's not their approval I care about." Marcus pulled back slightly to look at her. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I'm here for you, not for them. I care what you think, not what they think." Something in Marcus's eyes softened. "That's one of the things I love about you, Olivia. You see me, not my position." The word love hung in the air between them. Neither commented on it, but Olivia felt its weight and wondered if Marcus had meant to say it or if it had slipped out. The weekend in Chicago was magical. After the gala, they spent Saturday exploring the city. Marcus showed Olivia his favorite places, a small bookstore where he bought books for long flights, a cafe with the best coffee in the city, a quiet spot by the lake where he sometimes went to think. On Sunday, Marcus took Olivia to see his company's headquarters. The building was impressive but not flashy, much like Marcus himself. He showed her his office with its view of the city and introduced her to the few employees who were working on the weekend. "This is where all the magic happens?" Olivia asked teasingly as they stood in his large but surprisingly simple office. "Hardly magic," Marcus replied. "Just a lot of hard work by a lot of good people." As they walked through the empty building, Marcus told Olivia about his plans for the company's future: new routes, better service, more community involvement. She listened, fascinated by his vision and his passion. "You really love what you do," she observed. "I do," Marcus agreed. "Just like you love what you do." That evening, they had dinner at Marcus's apartment. It was a beautiful place with floor-to-ceiling, windows overlooking the city. But it felt surprisingly homey. There were books everywhere, comfortable furniture, and photos of his father and Betty on the shelves. Over dinner, their conversation turned more serious. "So what happens now?" Olivia asked. "After I go home tomorrow?" Marcus set down his fork. "That depends on what you want to happen." "I like being with you," Olivia said honestly. "But we live in different cities. We both have busy careers. I'm not sure how this works long term." "I've been thinking about that," Marcus said. "Horizon Airways has been considering opening a new hub in your city. It would mean I'd need to be there much more often. Olivia looked at him suspiciously. You wouldn't change your business plans just for me, would you? No, Marcus said firmly. It's been in the works for months, long before we met. But I could volunteer to oversee the project personally. It would mean spending at least half my time there for the next year or two. And after that? Marcus reached across the table for her hand. After that, we'd figure it out together. If this is what I think it is, what I hope it is, we'll find a way to make it work. What do you think it is? Olivia asked softly. Think it's the beginning of something important, Marcus said. Something worth rearranging my life for if necessary. Olivia squeezed his hand. I think so too. 6 months later, Olivia stood in the familiar airport where she had first met Marcus. So much had changed since that day. Marcus had indeed taken charge of the new hub project in her city. He now spent 3 weeks of each month there, staying, in a rented apartment close to Olivia's place. Their relationship had grown stronger with each passing day. Olivia's business was doing well too. Word had spread about her successful events, and she now had more clients than she could handle alone. She had hired 2 assistants and was considering expanding further. Today, Marcus was flying in from Chicago. Olivia waited at the gate, remembering how she had once missed her own flight to help a stranger in this same airport. That stranger had turned out to be the love of her life. She saw Marcus walking toward her, his familiar smile warming her heart. He pulled her into a hug, then stepped back with a serious look on his face. I need to ask you something, he said. Right here, in this spot where we first met. Olivia's heart raced as Marcus dropped to one knee and took a small box from his pocket. Olivia Mason. Missing that flight was the best thing that ever happened to me. Will you marry me? Tears filled Olivia's eyes as she nodded. Yes, she whispered. Yes. As Marcus slipped the ring onto her finger, people around them began to applaud. Olivia noticed Betty standing nearby, wiping tears from her eyes. She had come to the airport with Marcus, just as she always did. Marcus stood and kissed Olivia, holding her close. I love you, he said. I love you too, she replied. Sometimes, Olivia thought, the best journeys begin with a missed flight. She had missed her plane that day but found her way home to a love she never expected, all because she stopped to help a stranger in need.